Welcome students to the orientation module for 2020. My name is Raisa Mohamed-Ryklief and I'm a lecturer as well as providing counseling support for students. So by now you should have worked through many of the topics for the orientation module, and this presentation on student resilience is helping you to identify and define what resilience is and why it is important, and also gives you some tips on how to develop your own resilience. Resilience isn't something that you necessarily will have inherently or born with, but it's something that you can develop and practice. It is really important for you as students to understand this concept and to carry it through, because it will help you to cope with the many challenges that you may be facing, because you will be carrying quite a lot to do, both as a student and in the various roles that you play throughout your life. So let's get started. So firstly, let's talk about what resilience is. So resilience has a very specific definition, but it can also be explained in many ways. The same definition can be explained in various ways. So essentially, we can talk about the Merriam-Webster dictionary definition. It's resilience is an ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. It's about overcoming obstacles. It's about adapting to change. It's about being able to quickly recover from difficult or challenging situations. And even if you are faced with failure, even if something has happened that is not in line with what you expected, you are able to bounce back. So resilience is also to do with how we deal with traumatic events like death in our families, how we deal with disappointments like possibly being retrenched, or other types of challenges. As a student, you're going to be faced with many challenges, and you will have to develop resilience to be able to adapt and cope with the various challenges you find in your life, because there will be added challenges now that you are a student. So let's think about some of the things that you are going to be faced with. So you will be playing many roles. You'll be expected to perform in many areas. Not only are you a student, but you also have to consider the various family expectations that are placed upon you. You also have a social life that maybe before this was something you were quite active in. You'll have to be balancing your studies, which can be very overwhelming. You'll be having to pay bills, your fees, and all the other bills that you usually have in your life. You may also have work, because you may be a part-time student, or you may be working and studying, which is quite a juggling act. And you also have to think about self-care, which is me time. It's important for you to kind of replenish and find some stress-relieving activity to help you to cope with everything that you'll be juggling. And these are not all the things that you'll be faced with. There's lots of other roles that you may play. There's lots of other expectations that may be placed upon you. So if you really want to succeed with your studies, if you want to succeed in juggling all of these roles, you have to understand what works best for you. How will you best cope? What makes you resilient? What are your strengths? And how do you face challenges in your life? No, we cannot prevent adversity. We cannot prevent daily stress. But what we can do is we can learn to be more resilient. And how do we do this? We do this by changing how we think about challenges and adversities. Today, we are under a tremendous amount of stress. Stress from home, stress from work, stress from studies. Even our social life can be stressful. And this can be very damaging both to our physical health and to our social well-being. And we need to understand that physically, we can be quite affected by stress. It's something that can sit in our body. It makes your muscles tense. It makes your body tense, which means that you are more likely to injure yourself because your muscles are so tense and because you are kind of set for fight or flight. Also lowers our immune system. And so really to develop resilience is an important way for you to keep yourself healthy and safe. We need to develop strengths, we need to acquire skills to cope, we need to recover from hardships and be prepared for future challenges. This is very important. As we all know, we cannot prevent adversity, we can't prevent stress that we feel on a daily basis, but we can learn to be more resilient. And we can do this by changing how we think about challenges and adversities. In today's life, we are under tremendous stress, but the stress can be potentially damaging both our physical health and our psychological being. So when you're sick, you will become injured a lot faster because your body is quite tight from all the stress. When you are stressing, you can also become sick quite quickly because it lowers your immune system. So we need to develop strengths, we need to acquire skills to cope and to recover from hardships, and we need to be prepared for future challenges. So we're going to be looking at Dr. Ginsberg's sees with the model of resilience. There are many models, but we'll be starting with this one because I think it's laid out quite nicely, and it's something that you can checklist a little bit. You can look at the 7 C's and just find for yourself, where am I on this? Do I feel like I've worked on these strengths? Do I feel like I've developed and acquired skills in these areas, or is there some work that I still need to do? So the first one is competence, and competence is about feeling capable. It's about focusing on strengths, it's about learning from mistakes. And it's really about you understanding, do I feel like I can do this? Do I feel like this is something that I'm good at? So if you are a painter and you paint really well, you feel that you are competent. So you need to get to that level of competence. And how do we do this? It's about practicing it. It's about trying again, asking for help, getting feedback, and then trying once again. Then confidence is about understanding who you are and what you are good at and being confident in that. You can also develop confidence in something by practicing it. Once again, doing it over and over and over, becoming more confident. If you've ever did something new, so like learning to drive, initially you are exceptionally nervous, but after doing it a number of times, become more confident, and the more you drive, the more you feel like I'm both confident and competent in this. The next one is connection, which I found very important. Connection is about building relationships. This is about connecting with others. So in your case, as a TOGI student, it's about connecting with your lecturers, about connecting with your classmates and colleagues and asking for help, reaching out. As an aside, it's very important for you as a student to connect with your lecturers. Ask questions timelessly. Don't wait till the end of the day before the assignment is due to ask for help. Speak to your lecturers if you find something challenging, message them. We are responsible for explaining things to you and helping you to understand what you don't. So please feel free to connect with us at any time, and it will also make you feel more confident and confident in the work that you need to do. The next one is character. It's about developing a set of models and codes and values. And this is really about you understanding who you are. And so any situation that you're presented with, because you know who you are, because you know what you stand for and what you believe in, it will be easier for you to make a decision and to make a choice. Contribution. You need to realize what you bring to the table. Don't feel like you do not have any strengths. Do not feel like that there's nothing you can contribute. Try your best to bring something to every situation, even if you think it's something small. This helps to also build confidence, competence, and connection, and also shows your character because it shows what you value, because this is what you want to be involved in. Coping, another important one, it's about working on your stress relieving strategies. Now, we all have different stress relieving strategies. Some of us want to exercise, some want to do arts and crafts, you want to knit, or you want to swim, you want to do yoga, you want to play soccer, you want to dance. Stress relieving strategies are extremely important. As I said earlier, it's very easy for us to get very wound up. Your muscles get very tight because we hold our stress in our body. Once we start moving, we do exercise, we do something that releases that stress, your body will unwind, and you are less likely to get injured in that way because you've released the stress from your body. It's a very biological explanation to stress because our body does react in a certain way that allows us to become injured, that allows us to become ill because we are holding so much stress in our body. So work on your coping strategies. Then control. What can I control? So the example I used here is you can control when you start an assignment. If you leave everything for the week before the deadline, you may have 3 or 4 deadlines coming up. And because you chose to wait that long, you are now going to struggle to complete everything on time, which then gives you more stress. And because you feel stressed, you feel less competent because you're making lots of mistakes. You don't feel confident in your work. So it really is necessary for you to choose to control how you do things, when you do things to best suit you. And so some of this is repetitive, but I'm going to look at the 10 ways to build resilience in the literature that I have attached to this module that you're going to be reading as well. You'll find the 10 ways to build resilience. And so you can look at it in a little bit more detail there, but I'll just talk about them very quickly here. So the 10 ways to build resilience is about making connections, which you spoke about earlier. Avoid seeing crisis as insurmountable problems. And I apologize for that word running over there. But avoid seeing everything as a complete crisis, something that I'll never be able to do. Have confidence in your ability. Have confidence in your ability to cope with what you're being faced with. Accept that change is part of living. You can't have everything remaining the same. Sometimes the status quo will shift, and you need to understand that part of Dealing with it is acceptance. Move towards a goal. Moving towards your goal helps you to keep momentum. And in keeping momentum, it keeps energy going. And this is quite important for resilience. Take decisive actions, make choices, look for opportunities for self-discovery, nurture a positive view of yourself, keep things in perspective, maintain a hopeful outlook, and take care of yourself. And take care of yourself will come in every time because it's very, very important. So these are very necessary for you as a student to develop, and it's something that you should keep reminding yourself about all the time. Another resilience model, as you can see, they are definitely repetitive, and they're talking a lot about your physical well-being, having positive emotions, having social support. That's about making those connections, building those relationships, coping, and having meaning in life, having a purpose, working towards a goal, having an understanding of what you're about, what you value, and what you think is something that will make you happy, and it's something that will make you feel fulfilled. Again, this is another model, 6 domains of resilience. And these, as you can see, are all repetitive again of the other models that we've looked at. But I like how it's laid out here. The connections that we spoke about earlier, the relationships under collaboration. The tenacity is about your drive, your optimism, your confidence in yourself. Health, again here, coping strategies, looking after yourself, composure, vision, and reasoning. So what are some of the benefits of student resilience? It allows you an ability to cope with what you're dealing with. It prevents breakdowns. You are able to ask for help because you've built good relationships, and good relationships allow you to go back, ask for help, and then use that help to improve whatever you're doing. You're able to then bounce back. You know, apologies for the S here, but you know when to take a break, which is very important. Often people don't know when to take breaks, and these are very important. It helps you to develop a positive sense of self and helps you to be more positive. You're able to learn from failure, not see failure as an end, but as an opportunity to learn. You're able to adapt to change. You have a sense of control because you're quite decisive in your decision making and you make choices that are best for you. And also a benefit of student resilience, it's associated with longevity, lower rates of stress, and greater satisfaction with life, which is really great benefits to have. And also it's associated with success, achievement, ability. So resilience is really a vital element in your studies and in your life in general. So we've discussed a lot of this already, but just some practical ideas for you as students. Try to manage your time using schedule. So it's very difficult to stick to a schedule, I do understand, but try to create one for yourself that will allow you to know what needs to be completed when, just to take some pressure off you. Eat well and exercise. This is extremely important because your body needs to be healthy for you to do everything else. Prioritize what is most important right now. Recognize what you're good at. Keep to deadlines. Communicate timelessly with your lecturers. Take responsibility for your own learning and don't expect anyone else to do it for you. Make sure you read your module guides. Put their dates down in your calendar. Follow your calendar. Reach out to you if you need help. Speak to your friends, your family, your TOGI lecturers, or the TOGI counselor, or any other person you feel comfortable with. I want to say that this is a very exciting journey, and it's something that can be extremely vital for your development, but it is important that you take charge of this process, that you decide how you want to progress and how you'd like to connect with the people that are there to support you. I'm very excited for you and I wish you the very best on your journey ahead. And I hope that this short presentation has given you an idea of some of the skills you need to acquire and some of the strengths you need to develop in order to cope with the studies ahead. Please read the literature that I've also uploaded on this module and then complete the short task thereafter. Good luck and I wish you very well for this year.